Welcome to What is Going On for new thought from the edge of Om. Each week on OMTimes' flagship radio show, veteran broadcaster, author, and media consultant Sandie Sedgbeer conducts thought-provoking interviews with inspirational authors, artists, musicians, scientists, speakers, and filmmakers who are working at the point where spirituality and science meet consciousness at the very edge of Om. Here is your host, Sandie Sedgbeer.
In Gallup survey, only 30% of Americans feel that they are engaged in their jobs. In Western Europe, that number drops to 14%, aside from Denmark, where the figure is 20%. But in Japan, only 6% are thrilled about their lives. Sadly, it would seem that the majority of people are living lives of quiet desperation, unhappy with their jobs, their relationships, or the way their life is unfolding, and unsure how to change things. If this strikes a chord with you, stay tuned, because my guest today has helped hundreds of thousands of people around the world transform their lives simply by uncovering their true purpose and their passions. Janet Bray Attwood is a recognized leader in the transformational industry and the New York Times bestselling author of The Passion Test, The Effortless Path to Discovering Your Life Purpose, co-written with her former husband, best friend, and business partner, Chris Attwood. Janet's also the founder and creator of The Passion Test, which is the #1 process being used worldwide to align people with their passions and purpose. In addition to presenting her programs on the same stage with the Dalai Lama, Sir Richard Branson, Stephen Covey, Jack Canfield, Lisa Nichols, and many others, Janet has personally trained over 1,000 Passion Test facilitators worldwide. Janet Bray Attwood, welcome.
Sandie, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you very well. Thank you, Janet.
Lovely. I'm really excited, actually very passionate to be on this call with you. Thank you.
I wouldn't expect anything less. So, Janet, it's a human trait to want to live a life that has meaning and purpose. I mean, we all want to be passionate about what we're doing, be excited about how we spend our days, love our life, and feel we're making some valuable contributions. But how do we create all this if we don't know what our real passion is?
You know, the very first step, and I love that question, is that you have to have clarity. I mean, you know, not knowing what it is unclear, is that you're not clear. And, you know, Sandie, most people, what they don't do, they don't take the time to stop and step out of their busy life and ask the simple question, which is, what do I love? What do I care about? What turns me on? You know, what are the things that other people say I do well? What do I do naturally? And start to, you know, inquire from within, because everything is first created from within and then manifests without. And most people, Sandie, are so busy running around just, you know, in what my dear friend Mark Victor Hansen of Chicken Soup says, into their job, which is they're just over broke and just trying to, you know, exist and hang on.
When we're kids, I mean, kids are very passionate. They're in the moment. They love what they do. They throw themselves into it. Where do we lose it?
Well, where did you lose it? You know, I mean, I know where I lost it, right? I remember Mrs. Lyons when I was in like the 3rd grade, and she said, "What? You think you're going to be a great actress? You're going to be a great speaker?" All my whole life, you know, if you read my book, The Passion Test, it talks about when I was a little kid, I used to, you know, when my parents were asleep at night, I would run out and I would dance underneath our, you know, these big street lights that we had. And I would pretend I was this great orator. And I can't tell you what that did when Mrs. Lyons, my teacher, you know, she was an authority figure. When she said, "Who do you think you are? You're not going to be able to do that." And it was like, boom. And it was like, well, she must be right. You know, she's an authority figure. And this is what happens to all of us. You know, it could be our mother, our father, our friends, you know, and maybe not even meaning to do it to us. But when we're little, we're really impressionable. And so we believe that to be true. And many of us, and I would say most of us, after listening to those figures that you just, rattled off a minute ago, that is happening all over the world, 6% in Japan, is, the reason why is because we get our dreams taken away from us by other people that have great influence on us when we're little kids.
What does it mean to you to live a passionate life?
Well, it means that I wake up like I do. I wake up, Sandie, you got to come hang out with me, because when I get up in the morning, I am like, yeah, I can't wait to get going. And it's just because I have, every moment of my day, and I will really say it's just like what I do, I love. And so I don't spend time doing things I don't love. And that's in all areas of my life. We're not just talking about my work and what I do at work, but we're talking about how I live my life in every area, my health, my spirituality, my fun, my play. I mean, it's all the best of the best of the best. And I've really gotten clear on what is it that I care about and what is it that I love. So that is what I created for my life. All of us are capable of having that. It's not just, I was not born that way. As a matter of fact, I was born the opposite. I had a lot of stuff I had to endure and get over. But, for all of us, it's just simply getting ourselves in a state of saying, okay, what is it that I care about? And then having the courage, because it takes a lot of courage to choose in favor of the things that matter most to us. I was interviewing, when I used to have an online magazine, I interviewed Neil Donald Walsh, and I said, Neil, what do you think? And I know Neil is the creator of these beautiful God books. I said, Neil, what do you think is the most important thing someone needs in order to live a passionate life? And he stopped for a minute and he said, courage. It takes great courage, because just as we were just talking a minute ago, there are so many people who think they know what we should be passionate about better than us. And so it takes great courage for each and every one of us to stop and say, no, this is what I care about. This is what turns me on. This is what lights my fire.
So after Mrs. Lyons really, made those killing remarks, and we've all heard them, and they are killing remarks, who do you think you are? What did it take for you to rediscover your passion?
It was like I had to rebuild myself from the inside out, really, truly. And I was really lucky because I started meditating when I was very young. And that got me more in touch with me again. And that also, enabled me to be strong from within myself and to really know myself, and finally just have the courage to say, that was Mrs. Lyons. It had nothing to do with me. So that was one of the things that I, learned really early in life, right? And that was because I would really like to tell everyone, one of the things that is very important for anyone to get clear is to have clarity from within. How do you do that if there's so many stressful things going on? Meditation is, one of the best tools that I've found. So that's what helped me. And then later on in life, I was lucky to spend time with the great Byron Katie, and really go in and take a look at these limiting beliefs that were, getting in the way of me being able to just really go out there and go full on and do what I really cared about and really loved.
So what was the actual inspiration behind the passion test?
Oh, this is a good one. Well, I'm sitting in a seminar. And actually, let me back up a minute. Before that, I was working in a recruiting firm, and I was recruiting disk drive engineers. And my friends, it was a 13-people office. My friends called me up one day and they said, "Hey, Janet, we've got this great job for you. We're all doing recruiting." All my friends worked in this office. They said, "We've got one seat available, and you love people and you love to talk and you're really enthusiastic, and we think you'll be great at this job. So why don't you come and do this job? And, you'll make millions of dollars. And Sandie, when they said millions of dollars, you could see these dollar bill signs in my eyes. I'm like, yeah. So I go to this job, and I had all those qualities that they talked about. But one thing I didn't even think about was I'm not one of those people that are technical. I'm a right brain creative. And to recruit disk drive engineers, you really had to dive into the technical, very left brain. And so I was terrible at this job. And I mean, terrible. And they had a bell that they ring every time any of the recruiters got a job for an engineer. And the bell rang all day long. And this went on for months for everybody but me. And I am dying inside. And every night after work, I would go and meditate. And one night, when I went to the local meditation center to do my meditation, I see this sign on the wall. And it said, "Yes to Success Seminar." And it was a success seminar being held in San Francisco. And so I called into work. I lied. "I can't come. I'm so sick." And then I drove to work. And I drove so happily to the seminar. And I am like, yes, and I walk in, and this woman who's giving the seminar is on fire. And she looks good. She feels good. Everything she says is, taking me 6 feet off the ground, because she's talking about things that matter, about living in your integrity and doing the things you love. And there I am in my life doing everything I don't love. And I am like, yeah. And then she starts talking about a survey that had been given to the 100 most successful people in the United States. And what the survey found was that each and every one of these 100 most successful people were all living what they considered to be their top 5 passions.
Wow.
And that was it. That was it for me. That was that one, one of those moments that my life stood still. She went on to talk about dressing for success. I'm sitting there, and all I can think about is, all right, that's it. What are my 5? What are my 5? If I could figure out my 5.
Janet, I'm going to interrupt you there and hold that thought. We'll be back in a few moments after the break. I want to know what those 5 are for you. So stay tuned.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
This is Terry Van Horn, and I want to invite you to join me for my weekly radio show, Hailing Light, on OMTimes Radio every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Hailing Light, we want to bring love, light, and blessings into your world. You can find out more about us at www.healinglightonline.com. Blessings.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern, as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
To What is Going On, I'm Sandie Sedgbeer, and my guest is Janet Bray Attwood, founder and creator of The Passion Test. Janet, what are your top 5 passions?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I was ready for you. You know, my number one passion is to be present in the moment and love what is. My number 2 passion is vibrant, perfect health. My number 3 passion is being surrounded by my enlightened family and friends. And my number 4 passion is having fun with everything I do. And my number 5th passion, and guys that are single, listen up. It's a new one, Sandie, that has just come up on my list as of lately, because I take the passion test every, 4 to 6 months to, stay with what's going on in my life, is to live, work, and play with my ideal mate.
Well, that's a good one. That's a very good one. So you change them, obviously, as one, uncovers one's passions and then begins to live them. You then suddenly find that maybe you've got others that you hadn't known you had.
Well, yeah, and, that happens. And, my top 2, they don't really shift. It's about number 3, 4, and 5. They're the ones that move around the most. But if it's something that I want forever and ever and ever, then it seems to be there all the time is the most important.
So tell me about the passion test formula. What is it?
Yeah, the passion test formula is, and this is great for anyone listening, because if you just start with this, you'll be on the path immediately. And it's just simply intention, attention, no tension. Intention. Everything starts with intention. It's the starting point of any dream. And so intention is all about getting clear. And what we say in the passion test is when you are clear, what you choose to have show up in your life will, and only to the extent that you're clear. And Sandie, I was reading this quote. I love this quote. It's in the classic Vedic text called the Upanishads, and it says, "You are what your deepest desire is. As your desire is, so is your intention. As your intention is, so is your will. As your will is, so is your deed. And as your deed is, so is your destiny." So for each and every one of us, the very first step for any of us who want to live a passionate life is to get clear on what is it that we choose to create. And that's why the passion test, what is it? It's one exercise after the other, after the other, after the other, that helps you get so crystal clear that you can actually see the world you choose to create from within. So intention is the very first step to get that level of clarity so that you can see your world from inside yourself, because whatever you input has to manifest from without. So intention. Second step, attention. All of us are powerful. I've been giving the passion test to men and women in homeless shelters, to kids in lockdown detention centers, to people like, Jack Canfield of Chicken Soup for the Soul, and people in all walks of life. And what I found is that all of us are powerful. We're all powerful. Everybody's powerful. If you want to know how powerful you are, look at your life, because your life is just a reflection of the thoughts that you continue to think over and over and over again. And what most people don't know is that, these thoughts create things. And so it's really important to get really clear on what you're passionate about. And then put your powerful attention, I say consciousness is attention, on what you choose to create. So a samurai, he's clear. He knows what he wants. He sees the goal and he goes to it and he gets it done. And a person who's not clear, they get what they get. So attention is really important. And aside from taking your powerful consciousness and putting it on what you choose to create instead of what you don't want to create, a lot of people, they wake up in the morning, they turn on the bad news, they listen to the bad news, they drive to work, they listen again, they get to work, they have coffee with their friends, they talk about the bad news, they go home, they think about their own bad life. This is where they put their powerful attention. But, you know, for people that are successful in their life, and when I talk about success, I mean successful in terms of all the areas of their life, when they're really happy from within, it's because they've gotten really clear on what they choose to create, and then they keep their attention on what it is that they want to continue to create in their life, and they strike like lightning, and they take massive action, and they don't complain about what's not happening. They're looking at what is happening. So it's all a matter of mindset. So that's the second step. And then the third step is no tension. And the no tension is all about, you know, let me ask you, Sandie, have you ever strained to get something done in your life?
Oh, yes, many
Ever?
times, many times.
Yeah, and have you found that when you're straining, it's like you're stepping on a hose, and it's like sucking all the air out, and, you know, no energy is flowing through. And so this no tension part, it's all about when you've done everything you know to do in the direction of achieving whatever passion you choose to, you know, achieve, and you know you've done everything, then you have to surrender. That's the point where you have to let go. And when you let go, what are you letting go? You're letting go to the universe to handle the details. And that's when the people, the places, the things start to show up. That's when synchronicity starts to occur. So that's the formula for living a passionate life. Intention, attention, no tension.
So you and Chris created a step-by-step program of action, which is designed to help people learn to align their lives with their priorities. So once we've created our passion list, which is our priorities in life, how do we then start moving to align things? Because sometimes it's easier said than done.
Oh, yeah. You know, as a matter of fact, that's what I was sitting there in that seminar trying to figure out. You know, okay, let's see. Okay, step one, make a list of things that I'm passionate about. Step two, okay, how do I congeal this list so that it's manageable? And in the passion test, we have what's called the elimination process. And the elimination process is just simply some questions that we tell people to ask themselves. So the first question would be, you know, it used to be, what's more important? You know, what's more important in your life, this or this, this or this? If you could have this or you could have this. But now we say, what feels better, which is really, really interesting, because it wasn't until a few years ago that we realized to have this elimination going on with your, you know, your big old list of passions. Say you've written 10, 20, you know, whatever, and you want to congeal them down to a manageable 5, so your mind doesn't have so many things going on all at one time and never get anything done. We realized we were asking a question that flipped everybody into their mind by saying, what's more important? And we flipped it instead to which feels better. So we tell people, just make a list and start asking yourself from 1 to 2, which feels better, passion number 1 or passion number 2? Whatever one they say, you go from that passion to the next one. If you get stuck, then we tell them to ask another question. So say you're stuck between 1 and 2 and you hesitate for a minute. Then you say, if you could have this, if you could have passion number 1 but never passion number 2, or if you could have passion number 2 but never have passion number 1, which feels better? So that question takes their mind to another level. And then if they still hesitate, say they're still hesitating on passion 1 or passion 2, then we tell them, all right, now close your eyes. Imagine living passion number 1 out, full out, 100%. No room for, no room for anything other than 100% fulfillment. But notice in that picture that nowhere is passion number 2. Now set that picture aside, and then we have them do the same thing to, passion number 2. And then we just ask the question again, which feels better? And what happens here, and just going from 1 to 2 and 2 to say it's, you choose 2, then you go 2 to 3, and you say it's 3, you go 3 to 4, say it's 3, you go 3 to 5, and so on and so on. We tell people to do this until they come up with 5 top passions. And the reason for 5 is because the mind, we've been working with these neuroscientists from the University of Pennsylvania that found that the mind can contain only 5 to 7 pieces of information at any given time. And any more than that, it's overload. And Sandie, I bet you know what I'm talking about. And when your mind is overloaded, you're not able to get anything done, nor can you do it well. So in the passion test, we have people come up with their top 5 passions so that they can focus on those easily. And we say, do the job, see the job, and stay out of the misery and live that passionate life full out.
It's interesting because I would think that many people, when you first ask them about their passions, they will say, the things that they love to do, the things that they enjoy, but also the things that they want to achieve. I want to become wealthy or something like that. But in fact, often there's another motivation underneath that. It's not so much the wealthy that they're passionate about. It's about taking care of my family or creating security for those I love. And it's easy to get confused, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really easy to get confused. And that's why we have people take the passion test, not just one time, but when you first take the passion test, you're what I call my passion baby. And that means that this is your very first time. And when you take it the first time, that's when you just start to oil your heart, I say, because your passions live in your heart. They don't live in your head. Your passions are motivated by the things that you love, which is, basically comes from that deep feeling level. And so, we tell people take the passion test 2, 3, 4 times in the very, very beginning, just so they start to get really super clear. What is it that I truly, truly love and care about? And it's interesting because it's such a huge multitude of things in the world to do, but what it's so interesting to note is that it's really easy for people when they do and follow the formula to come up with those things that they care about the most.
You're listening to What Is Going On. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer, and my guest is speaker, author, and creator of the Passion Test, Janet Bray Attwood. After the break, we're going to find out how you can undo any limiting beliefs that may be preventing you from fully embracing your passions. We'll be back in a few minutes, so don't go away.
You're listening to OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hello, I'm Miriam Knight of New Consciousness Review, inviting you to my new show where I interview the rising stars of the conscious awakening. We'll explore the many faces of consciousness in action and intriguing perspectives on life, the universe, and everything in between. Join us each Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern on the Rising Stars Show.
The name is Bond, James Bond.
No, the name is Joe, The Joe Show. And we are returning back for our 9th season here on OMTimes Radio. So tune in every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, on OMTimes.com/mobile. You can take us wherever you go. Yeah!
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
You're listening to OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
I'm back. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer, and my guest is Janet Bray Attwood, New York Times bestselling author of The Passion Test. Janet, Mrs. Lyons and those famous, infamous words, "Who do you think you are?" They create such blockages in our lives. How can we begin to unravel those belief systems planted by people like Mrs. Lyons?
Oh, I love you for asking this beautiful question. You know, the only thing that gets in the way of anyone living a passionate life are false beliefs, false ideas, and false concepts. In other words, you know, the thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not rich enough, I'm not powerful enough. And Sandie, I see it in every seminar. You know, I'll see people that are just like rock stars almost, you know, ready to just break out. And yet they've got this belief inside of them that came from, you know, sometime in their life that, you know, someone threw them a curveball just like it happened to me and said, you know, hey, yo, you know, you not, and they believed it to be true. And in the Passion Test, what we share is this beautiful process to undo these limiting beliefs. And it's the work of Byron Katie. And I know you know who Byron Katie is. Mm-hmm. She's one of my dearest friends, and I love her completely. And her work is profound. And what we found in the Passion Test is that we couldn't do without this wonderful process. And so we had a conversation with Katie and said, you know, we'd like to integrate your knowledge with this wonderful tool that we share with everyone, because without having, you know, a process that can help people undo these limiting beliefs, those beliefs are like a brick wall, and they will stop them, you know, from being able to live that passionate life every single time. And so by using this process called the work of Byron Katie, it's a process of self-inquiry where, you know, you just simply ask what Katie calls 4 questions and a turnaround in terms of your limiting beliefs. So it might be, you know, my husband doesn't appreciate me. And the first question is it true? And then, well, let's see, is it true? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they get to inquire. And it's all these questions to help a person come back to what is really true. What is really true? Because truly, you know, when you inquire into your limiting beliefs, what you find is that that's not real. That our mind created those limiting beliefs. And what this process does, it takes you from your mind back to your heart. And when you're in your heart, you're open. And, you know, one of our 7 keys to living a passionate life is to be open, because the gifts are always there. You know, the universe is always gifting us. We are always getting told where to go, what to do, and how to do it. And actually, the real truth is that passion is just getting quiet enough to listening to the general manager of the universe trying to hand each and every one of us our marching orders. And if our mind is constantly filled with all of this chatter, which is what limiting beliefs are, then we're not able to settle in and really connect with our higher self, which is in alignment. What I say in the Passion Test is, you know, God's will or nature, higher power, the universe, the unified field, whatever name you want to put to that energy that is greater than yourself. And one of my favorite quotes in the Passion Test is, what you love in God's will for you is one and the same. And so when we get in alignment with that, then that's when the people, the places, and the things start to show up. And why? Is because that's where the support of nature really starts, because each and every one of us are here to give our gifts. Each and every one of us has greatness within us. And it's not even personal, it's actually what we're here to really give and gift to others. And so how do you do that? You start to drop in and you start to get clear. You start to, really, really listen and listen to the mind as well. And then start to find tools to help you come back to yourself so that you can do your, marching orders. Because each of us are part and parcel of this, what science calls the unified field. And we all have a great role to play in this unified field. And so our job is to figure it out. What is my role? What am I here to give? What am I here to gift? And when we're able to figure that out and we're able to do that, that's when we're able to give maximum to not only ourselves, but to everyone.
Do you, you say that ritual is really an important part of living a passionate life. Tell me more about how ritual can help us.
Yeah, that's our other book. Okay, so we wrote a book all about it, as you know, called Your Hidden Riches, and it was all about rituals. And what Chris and I realized was that our whole life we've been using a lot of different things to help us to open up and expand our awareness and, tap into the unconscious aspects of ourself. And what were those rituals? And rituals are just those things that we do on a repetitive basis that give a deeper meaning and purpose to our life. And so one of the rituals I mentioned earlier is meditation. I've been meditating since I was 20 years old. And this is something that I do on a regular basis because it gives a deeper meaning and purpose to my life. And it unfolds myself to myself. That's one ritual. Another ritual I have when I'm in the shower is to, just always just start thinking, what am I thankful for? And this is a real ritual that I do and practice every single day, because what you put your attention on grows stronger in your life. So if you're always putting your attention on what you're thankful for, and I consciously do it to keep me into that flow of, what do I love and what do I appreciate? Then what you find is that what you appreciate appreciates, from abundance comes abundance, and abundance remains, this beautiful saying in the Vedas. And so that's another ritual. Another ritual is, I always drink my green drink. Again, doing those things that add greater meaning and purpose to our life. What is filling your body temple up with organic, non-GMO foods do? It makes that body just say thank you so much and open to the good even more. So these are some rituals. I mean, we all have rituals. And as a matter of fact, when Chris and I were studying them, we were cracking up because, Simon Cowell, the guy who, created all of these great, all these great shows that I just love to watch. He climbs a tree absolutely every day. And, you think he climbs a tree every day. How goofy is that? But, you think a guy like Simon Cowell, who's really into business, who's really into making it out there, probably has a lot of people coming at him. And, when he climbs that tree, it's just him and the tree. And that's probably where he gets a lot of his creativity, just sitting up there in that tree. And so for all of us, it's really important that we find these things to, called rituals, because what rituals do is they anchor us, they bring us back to ourself, and they connect us to the deeper, richer aspects of ourselves.
I'm sure for Simon Cowell, climbing a tree is a meditative experience. People laugh. I often hear men say, that watching the ball game is their relaxation. It's akin to meditation for them. And they decry women who go shopping. But I've noticed that when women are shopping, it is like a meditative experience where they're just, they're very present with what they're doing. They aren't thinking about all of their concerns and their worries. They're just focused on the moment.
Yeah, that's another thing about doing something like, I love that you said shopping. I love clothes. And so I always, one of my rituals with clothing is that whenever I go to a foreign country, I always buy something. So if you come and you hang out with me, you'll go, oh, Janet, I really like that. And I'll go, Italy, and, shoes, France. And it's really a fun ritual. And yeah, rituals are fun just to bring joy and, happiness to one's life. So another reason for rituals, right? But rituals are also, like Chris Attwood with his daughter Sophie and Tiana. He takes them on a walk every single day and they play the appreciation game. And what that is, that's a ritual, is what do they appreciate? And again, he's teaching them how to, put attention to the things that, are bringing good to them, right? And to be able to give that back. So, what I appreciate right now is the sun is shining. Well, what I appreciate is the butterflies are here. And then, when you sit down at the dinner table with Chris Attwood and his family, they're all sitting there and they start every single meal is start with this song. Oh, the Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord. And it goes on. And then they all clap, yay. Now, what does that do to the physiology, right? Not only do the kids can't wait to sit down and have dinner or lunch or breakfast, they know they're going to have fun the first second out. And then, they're just like happy sitting there at the table together. And that brings such a union to that family. So again, rituals are very, very important. And in terms of passion, rituals align us, to the things that we love to do as well. So they go hand in hand. They bring, again, that clarity to our life, that anchor to our life, that joy to our life. And passions blossom in that fertile field of joy.
I think that's so important. I mean, the statistics I quoted at the beginning of the show, they are dire. Why are so many people so unhappy? And I think it's because there's so much misery reflected back at us, from television, the media, etc. Everything that's going on in the world is in our faces. I think it's wonderful what Chris is doing.
Well, yeah. And the other thing is that I think why the world is so happy. I mean, consider this. If everybody who's listening to your wonderful show right now was living a passionate life, really, do you think they'd be out causing terrorism?
Absolutely. You're listening to What Is Going On. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer and my guest is Janet Bray Attwood. After the break, Janet will reveal how, after finding your passion, you can monetize it. Stay tuned.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM radio network.
Back to what is going on. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer, and I'm talking about finding your passion and your purpose with transformational leader, speaker, and author Janet Bray Attwood. Janet, the passion test is the number one process being used around the world to align people with their passions and purpose. Now, clearly, you and Chris, between you have trained, 1,500 practitioners in 50 countries. So everybody is very eager for what you have to offer. Nobody wants to stay living a life of quiet desperation. What do you normally hear from people after they've become a practitioner and they've used your process not only to help their own life, but to help others?
Oh, my God. Well, it was what I was saying earlier, that, the greatest gift that you can give is to give the gift of passion to yourself. Because, when each and every one of us really are living our passions and we wake up and we're excited and we're turned on and we can't wait to get out of bed and we can't, wait to share with others what it is that we're up to. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that, and for any of you that are waking up and hating what you do, stay open enough. Just take the passion test. Again, one exercise after the other, after the other, after the other, that helps you to get crystal clear about what it is that you choose to create in your life. And, what people have come to us and said, Sandie, I mean, it's one miracle after another, after another, after another. And, it's things like, my husband and I were going to get a divorce, and, we were losing all this. One of my students, I don't want to say her name, this is recent, we were about ready to go bankrupt. I couldn't get my kids into school. The schools that I wanted to put them into these really great schools, and my health was declining. And then we took the passion test. We got clear on what it was that we chose to create. I got clear on the fact that, my husband was one of my top passions. So I started to put more attention on, how I was treating him and the time that I was spending with him. And then we started thinking about, okay, what do we really want to do? And then we opened up a new area of our life and got into real estate, which we both loved. And then all of a sudden everything flourished. Next thing I know, I've got my kids in the school that I wanted. And, it just goes on and on and on. And of course, her health got better. I mean, and we hear about this stuff all the time. And it's not rocket science. As a matter of fact, there's a companion book called to the Passion Test called Success Built to Last. And in Success Built to Last, what the authors did was they went and they interviewed all of these really, mega successful people, but people who had known success for, 10, 20, 30 years. And what they found was that each and every one of these people that had known longstanding success, people like Michael Dell from Dell Computer and the great Maya Angelou, the great poet, was that all of them had made it a habit, and that's the buzzword, habit. It wasn't that they were born with a silver spoon in their mouth, but they made it a habit to consistently choose in favor of the things that had greatest meaning for them. In other words, their passions. And, it's so much easier to, you were saying, we're going to talk about it, monetizing your passions. It's so much easier to monetize your passion because you're loving it. I mean, life is life. In life, we're going to have obstacles, we're going to have challenges. And if you're choosing a money-based decision, if you're making a money-based decision, in other words, you're choosing some career because you hope it'll bring you money, but you really don't love it, then the first moment that there's an obstacle and a challenge, you're going to cave. Why? Because you're not really into it. You don't really want to, you don't have the wherewithal. But if a challenge or an obstacle comes and you're doing what you love, that love is so great for that thing that you just look at it, and there's just like, no way, this is what I love. And you're going to find the way to get through it like these people did in Success Built to Last. So, the things that we tell people to do in order to really monetize their passions is, allow yourself to really start to drop in to that dream that you had. Go back to that child, go and create a childlike mind. What's a child like? They're all possibilities. They know that, the world is their oyster. They don't see these huge obstacles. They don't censor themselves. And be persistent. And, this cracks me up because when you're passionate about what you are up to, you're naturally persistent because, again, it's so easy to be persistent when it's something that you care about. Tonight, you and I were on this call earlier, just making sure that, that we got connected because we're both in different places in Europe. And I said to you, you know what? You are one bulldog. You are persistent because, the call kept dropping, the computers weren't working. I mean, all these things were happening. And I said, no wonder you're so good, because you love what you do. And therefore it's easy. You're up late at night doing this tonight because our timing in Europe is way different than in the US, but you're doing it. And this is why you're so successful, because you love it. So therefore it's easy to be persistent. The other thing we tell people is make sure you, set your intention, and set your intention and then put your attention on those things, use the formula. And then, if you're listening and you hear nothing else from tonight's call, then the secret to living a passionate life is simply this. And if you get this one piece, if you get it, you got it. Whenever you're faced with a choice, a decision, or an opportunity, choose in favor of your passion. Again, whenever you're faced with a choice, a decision, or an opportunity, choose in favor of your passion. Think about it. If you knew what you were up to and you consistently chose in favor of those things, you'd end up, like all of these people in Success Built to Last. It's just a natural progression. So what I say is just, stay open enough to try it for yourself. Don't take our word for it or my word for it. You can tell that I just I'm all over this because I see what it's done for my life and everyone I know that uses the passion test. But you be your own test tube and see for yourself if, following the formula and using the secret to living a passionate life doesn't get you to that place where you wake up in the morning and you go, yay, I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning.
I love everything you're saying because I've always believed that we're here for a purpose and that our passions, give us the direction for that purpose. What's interesting about the passion test and the work that you're doing, the certifying of practitioners, is that you're actually certifying them to work in businesses and organizations, which I think is badly needed because employees need more satisfaction, they need more passion about their works, and the businesses need to be more passionate. But you're also certifying practitioners to work with kids as well.
Yeah, is that so cool? I'm so happy you mentioned this. Our first program, Passion Test for Business. Yeah. I just recently had a talk with a big business owner in Copenhagen, and he's all over the Passion Test for Business because, I said to him, look, here's what we do. We're going to go in, we're going to find out what was your original passion. Do you even know anymore? After the whole, business thing took over. And I said, and then we go in and we figure out, what are the employees passionate about? And then, can you imagine what it's like if you as a business owner, say to your employee, hey, not you, but you, H-U-G-H, we want to help you live that passion that you've got even more in your job. There's all this research, Sandie, that's found that people care more about being loved and respected,
yes,
and cared about than they do about the paycheck. And so if you want to take your employee engagement and just blow it out of the universe, then give your employees the passion test and then start to see if maybe, if one of their passions is, I want to be more of a leader. Oh, hey, we've got a leadership role here for you. Here, we want to give this to you. Do you think that they might want to stay in that job longer? Yeah, because it says I care. And it's the same with the kids. I was so not happy that you mentioned that only 6% of the people in Japan are living a passionate life, but happy that you mentioned Japan. Japan has the #1 teen suicide in the world. And I'm doing a lot of work in Japan, and the passion test for kids is there, coming to Japan next month. And I'm so excited because the kids program, the kids are so awake. Really, when you start the passion test, when you give them the passion test, because it's not about you, it's about them, and help them to realize, hey, you can live, your dreams. You can have what you want. People are out there that can support you to do and be and have everything you want. It builds such a bridge between you and them. And so parents, if you're having a hard time with your kids, find out what they're passionate about and start to say to them, honey, let's figure out together how you can live more of your passions. I want to do everything I can so that you can have what you want in your life. And I got to tell you, I have seen it in families. It just bonds them together so fast, Sandie. So thank you so much for mentioning those two programs.
Well, we're going to have to end it on that note, and I am so glad we have, because it really does counter those awful words, who do you think you are? If we can teach our kids to indulge their passions and build their confidence and accept what they love, I think we're doing them a great service. Janet Bray Attwood, thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been too short, but thank you.
I love you. Thank you.
The Passion Test, the effortless path to discovering your life purpose. You can find out more at thepassiontest.com. I'm Sandie Sedgbeer. Thanks for being with me today, and I look forward to being with you at the same time next week. Till then, it's goodbye from me.